Hi, good morning everyone, and thanks for tuning in to this month's episode of Fulton First. Coming to you from City Hall this month, and we just wanted to talk to you about a few initiatives and updates regarding important city initiatives and important city information. First of all, I'm going to start off on a positive note with the DRI update. Our downtown revitalization $10 million project is still underway, and I'm excited to report that the state contacted us this week and is looking for all final submissions to be in within the next 2 weeks to the governor's office. So you'll see that this week our LPC, which is our local planning committee, will be coming together virtually for a final meeting to review the projects, and then we will be putting out a community informational session that we will notify everyone via Facebook and our website and the DRI website, which is fultondri.com, to let them know how to access that information. After that, we will submit all of our final documentation to the governor's office, and then they will start the evaluation and decision process. This is for all communities who were awarded the DRI this round 4. They all have to have their submissions in. And once all submissions are in from all communities, that's when the governor's office starts looking at it. At this point, once we submit those projects, it is up to government. It's up to the state government, the governor's office, to make the decisions on which projects will be approved. We will submit to you all the projects that are available and that we have approved to move forward. And the governor then makes those decisions. Once we hear back from the governor's office, what he'll probably do, him and his team, will make an announcement. They'll probably come to town or do some type of virtual announcement that announces which projects will be moving forward. So be on the lookout for that. Within the next 2 weeks, we will have that public informational session available for everyone to view and to comment. Next, I want to move on to a topic that affects us all throughout the city, and that is paving. And it's a difficult conversation to have because we are not paving this year, and there's many variables that went into that. Early in the year when COVID hit, it put a lot of delay on any type of project such as paving. Contractors, their teams had to stay home, they weren't able to work, thus delaying any projects to start. So that put contractors behind in their work to begin with. In addition to that, and I think it's very important that the community knows this, the governor's office made it very clear to us early on that state funding that came through to the city of Fulton and to all municipalities throughout the state would be at risk of losing up to 20% of our funding. Therefore, our AIM funding, which is general funding for the state funding for the city of Fulton, Pave New York, our CHIPS fund, which addresses our streets and our infrastructure, and other sources of funding, we're at risk of losing 20%. Well, in fact, in the fourth quarter of this year, we did get a payment, and it was reduced by the 20%. The governor's office has decided to hold back the 20% of our funding, which is going to be upwards of $500,000 that we will not receive at this time. Because of that, we knew that we were going to have to make some difficult decisions, and that we needed to wait until we knew how much money we had to work with to determine what projects move forward and how much we could afford to put into those projects. Paving was affected. And finally, we put it out for bid, and what we call piggybacked off of some bids with the town of Baldwinsville. And through that process, the bidder, which is considered the lowest, most responsible bidder, so who came in at the best price point and is a responsible bidder, came in and they bid for the work. That contractor did not make their commitment. They set dates in the contract that they were supposed to commence and finish the project. That time has since come and gone. The final project was supposed to be completed, It has not even begun, and therefore I've made the decision that I'm not going to have paving done and create and wreak havoc on the city because the work won't be quality work. I want the city streets that are paved to be quality work. So we had to make the difficult decision based on all those factors, based on the backlog of work of the contractors, the reduction of funding of 20% of our state funding, and the fact that the contractor who did get the job did not meet their commitment. I made the decision to send them a letter and let them know that we are rejecting their bid, and in the spring we're going to put the work out for rebid. In addition to that, I'm talking with the county of Oswego to see if there's any possibility for shared services or and shared projects so that we can work together, be it purchasing or projects that we work together. I'm not going to take them out of the equation. They'll be included in the equation as an option for us to consider. Not that we will definitely go in that direction, but we're introducing those conversations so that we can see, is there an opportunity for the city of Fulton to work under shared services opportunities and relationships and help us to reduce our costs while still getting quality work and quality products. So there'll be more to follow on that. We are in the very beginning phases of it, but I think it's important that everyone knows that we are looking for every opportunity to be more efficient and more effective in our projects and in our purchasing. I did want to talk more about the New York State funding. We've talked about that. Again, with COVID, the governor made it very clear that funding to municipalities was going to be impacted. And we had little, frankly, no control over that. We were told that that was going to happen. We set 20% aside, anticipating but hoping that we would not see the reduction. And again, that reduction did take place. So upwards of $500,000 this year is what, again, we are anticipating. And that's a very, it's a scary number. And I know for a lot of us, we're going to be scratching our heads and thinking, well, what are we going to do? And why did that happen? Well, we're sitting together as teams as well, be it the Common Council, all the department heads, and we are brainstorming and talking about how we can turn this corner. And how do we take all the impact of COVID on the city and turn the corner and say, we can get through this. The goal is not to raise your taxes. We're talking about that. We have a great deal of conversation around that topic. And I have charged all of my department heads to go back, look at your proposed budgets for 2021, and do what you need to do to trim those back and to make concessions where necessary, but make sure that we do not impact the quality of the work or the quantity of the work that we're able to produce. So it's still important that we're able to accomplish our projects and to fulfill our commitments to the community, but we are looking long and hard into new ways of doing business. How do we still complete these projects and provide the services to the community, knowing that we are losing funding and we don't know what our 2021 funding will be, and we have other restrictions regarding various executive orders that are in place both at the state and federal level. And frankly, we have an election coming up that's a very significant election, and it's going to decide who our next president is. And with any election year, things change as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that's going to impact the state of New York and all the municipalities within it. But know that we are looking at every angle. There is not any option that is not being considered. And we are looking for the community to weigh in. So please share your thoughts on ideas that you have, whether it be at the DPW level, or it be at the codes level, or it be at the Parks and Recreation level. We want to hear how we can do business better. If you have ideas on how we can do business that saves us money or increases our revenue and still delivers great products and services, we want to hear about that. We will be continuing our budget meetings, and we're going to encourage full community participation. So we will have budget training sessions and budget informational sessions that will come to you electronically, virtually, so that you can experience, be a part of the experience, be part of the discussion, and have provide comments and have input into the budget process. And we encourage that. So that'll be forthcoming here in a very short period of time. So be on the lookout for that. I also wanted to talk briefly about the information you received on the citywide revaluation, which is the reassessment of all properties in the city of Fulton. There's a lot of confusion around that, and frankly, when I learned about it in the beginning of the year, I had a lot of questions and didn't have a full understanding of the process. Here's what I know and here's what I've learned. In 2019, the prior administration, which included the leadership as well as the elected officials, made the decision to do a citywide reassessment. They went out, they bonded, and they hired an assessor to work with they hired an appraiser to work with our assessor to deliver a citywide reassessment. That was decided on last year, and the process started. So here we are in 2020 under very unique circumstances, and frankly in the middle of a pandemic, and the city of Fulton is doing a reassessment. We are doing that, and we have invested in that prior to this year, and so I'm not going to waste the city's tax dollars. We're going to continue to move forward with it. But what we need to understand is that we have a voice in this process, and we should have a voice in this process. I've sent out educational information in our water bills and separate from our water bills. And I apologize to those who received a duplicate. We understood where that error took place. We've made the changes necessary, and I've had the conversations to make sure that that doesn't happen again. So for those who received a duplicate, my apologies, and thank you for sharing your concern. They were valid concerns, and we're addressing it. But we sent the information out. We've put it on social media. We've made the community aware, and we want to continue to make the community aware about this reval, because it's going to affect us all. I know it's going to affect me. It's been years since my house was reassessed, and you know what? My family is due to be reassessed, and I expect that I will be. So we're looking for input. We're looking for questions. We want the community to fully understand why we're doing this process and what rights you have as homeowners in this process. There's going to be a reevaluation. Some of us will be affected. Some of us won't. There's going to be businesses reevaluated. We're all a part of this process. Through that process, you're going to be able to sit down with the assessor and the appraiser who were involved in this and ask them questions. How did you get to this point? How did you get to this valuation? From there, we're going to conduct the annual grievance period, which is in May, where you have the opportunity, it's grievance day, and you can come in and grieve or dispute, is another way of saying that. Dispute your valuation, plead your case, and say to the board that will be at that time comprised of 5 board members, say to the board and the assessor, here's why I think your valuation was wrong. If you feel it was wrong, you'll have your day to do that. From that grievance period, a determination will be made. You as the property owner who grieved it will get that information in that final decision. And we're trying to improve our process and how we communicate to you and how we deliver that information and provide you good educational information around that. If you're then still not satisfied, you as a homeowner, as a property owner, as a business owner, are able to then take it to court and take it to small claims court and take it to that next level. And frankly, I'm encouraging all of us to understand what our rights are and how we can go about having good conversation through this process, and know that your voice should be and will be heard, and that we're going to do the very best we can to deliver a process that is equitable, it's fair, it is honest, and it's informational. We want to make sure that that's what we deliver to you. And if you feel that we're falling short of that in any way, shape, or form, contact the assessor's office. Make them aware. Contact City Hall. Make us aware. Contact your common council member. Make them aware, because we want to deliver this and do it right. Finally, I want to talk a little bit about Halloween. It is just around the corner. It's a few days away, and we know what type of tradition that is in the city of Fulton, and we know we often get a lot of crowds concentrated in certain areas of the city. The city of Fulton has taken the position to follow the CDC guidelines, and we are going to continue to follow those guidelines. While we do not encourage trick-or-treating, we do not encourage parties, and we do not encourage large gatherings. We hope that everyone will understand that those are not safe and that we should reconsider those options. We also understand that the community may still participate in those. So it's very important that you follow the guidelines that have been set out by the CDC and just recently by the governor's office on what is best practice and what should be strongly considered. And those strong considerations should be, again, no trick-or-treating is best, no large gathering is best, and we should be considering when we leave out the candy to have it individually wrapped and spaced out within so many feet of each other, so that the young trick-or-treaters can come up and grab theirs and leave, and it not be mixed in a bowl with other treats. These are just some options that we're giving you that you can take into consideration. And certainly if you have any questions, give our Parks and Rec Director, Chris Waldron, a call. He is overseeing this process. He did put out a few messages on our Facebook page, and he'll continue to monitor the situation right up until Halloween to make sure that we have good practices in place and that the community is able to get their questions answered. Finally, I just want to encourage everyone to exercise their voice and to get out and vote on Tuesday of next week, November 3rd. Make sure that you show up to the polls, do your early voting, or just get involved. And for those who have, thank you so much for making your voice heard. Appreciate everyone tuning in this month. I look forward to seeing you in December for our final one of 2020. Have a great day.